John Madden. John Madden. I love
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Woof, 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 woof. Growl. Woof, 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 woof. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Being very careful.
Now he's sitting down.
I am not. Thank you.
I'm play-by-playing this whole situation.
Robinson, up to the plate. How are you, man?
Oh, am I? I'm quite well. How are you?
Fantastic. So it's 48 minutes of dogs barking. My name's Jason. This is Brian alongside for the ride. This week, very special guest, Twitter/Blue Sky Bon Vivant, all around rad person, and this is completely unsourced, but the only male model ever to be impeached by the House, Whack Nicholson. Welcome to the show.
I didn't know we were going to bring up my impeachment trial immediately.
Well, I mean, we can either talk about that or the fact that you think that there are two St. Louis's.
Well, there certainly are two St. Louis's. I didn't make that up. Taylor Swift's pilot can confirm because he went to both of them today.
That's that's right. Yeah, she did make a stop over on the east side there. I wonder if she was.
She went over the Roxy's and got herself a lunch over there on the east side. And,
to guarantee she's going to have stomach issues during the show, she went over to Roxy's.
Is that the part of the country you guys are in? It's been a while since we lost.
Yeah, we're in St. Louis.
Yeah, we are in St. Louis. Yeah, the backstory there too. Boy, I still am kicking myself to. No, we had a fantastic episode with Whack, and I was the idiot who didn't press record, and it just the stars didn't align for a very long while. So we are very, very glad to have you back.
This one is on wax this time.
Yes, absolutely. We got it like 3 different places we're recording it. It's
I've
got
got
to be
the
fun.
memo app on my phone open just in case. Like
I hired a stenographer.
We're doing it. Yeah, Taylor Swift going over to the strip club side of St. Louis.
Flying. She went to the Cahokia airport, then flew to the Spirit of St. Louis airport in Chesterfield, which is you're going from one end of the metropolitan St. Louis area to like the exact other end.
Complete
and it's a
opposite.
13-minute flight.
Yeah. It would have been shorter to fly to Lambert, which is the actual hub where all the planes fly out of.
Sure, but there's less traffic.
I
It's
get
such
it.
a weird thing to see. Like, is St. Louis really that bad? I mean, I know it kind of is, but
It was strange seeing Taylor Swift's people kind of confirm that they'd rather land in Illinois and then fly to Chesterfield.
amazing.
Oh boy. It's definitely one of those things where you go, wow, I guess we are that bad.
So Whack,
Hi, hello.
where are you getting your Whack? Where are you getting your Apple Vision Pro?
As soon as the check clears from George Soros, I will be. That's going to be my first.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you something, Whack. I was a photojournalist in Ferguson. I'm still waiting on my George Soros check.
Yeah, that's true.
I desperately want the Vision Pro. I think they're cool. I think they look good. I think they're awesome. I'm sorry. I think it's the future. I think they look sick, and I can't wait to try them myself.
Well, my only issue with it is our first story tonight of what's happening around the internet, and this is courtesy of 404 Media. The headline, a $3,500 chastity belt. Early Apple Vision Pro adopters alarmed to learn VR porn doesn't work. Yeah, Jason Kobler over at 404 did a piece on it, really worth the read. But it starts out here. The day the Vision Pro released, a Reddit user posted in r Oculus NSFW, anyone figured out porn on the Vision Pro? Dying to get this to work, haha. If anyone has a success story, tell me how. The top comment on the thread is $3,500 chastity belt, and then 6 clown emojis. So they can pull up Pornhub, right? Because it's just
You could watch it in flat view, like it says.
I
in the
didn't
article,
understand
but
what they meant by like it didn't work. Like, what is that? Like, it doesn't. I never used like a VR headset at all, so maybe I'm misunderstanding what they mean by that.
So there's POV pornography that's filmed with stereoscopic. I think that's the right word.
Oh, so there
stereoscopic
are. Oh, so this already
cameras.
exists. I'm imagining this as something that's going
Yes.
to
Oh,
exist in
yeah.
the future. This currently exists.
Whack, the future is
Okay.
here.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that is the benchmark of every new piece of technology.
Yeah, what is porn?
How
yeah.
can I use this to jack off?
Yeah. And I think I've even posted about this, like, welcome to HD DVD land, the format that porn forgot. Because as soon as the porn companies threw their weight behind Blu-ray, it was over. Which was okay. I mean, if HD DVD, there wasn't really a lot of difference if you looked at them side by side between Blu-ray and HD DVD, but
only one could be used for jacking off.
exactly. As soon as porn picked a side, that was it. And so this headline kind of makes me go, oh, I don't know. Apple might be digging
I don't know,
their own
Apple.
grave.
I might be holding on to my money for a minute here.
You're not going to spend $5,000 on the goggles just yet.
No, I'm gonna wait for. Well, I mean, like all Apple products, you really want to wait for the second or
Yeah,
third generation
that's
before
true.
you use it to
Yeah.
jack off.
I didn't jack off to an iPad until like at least the third generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What? Once I could buy a case with a built-in stand, it was over.
There you go.
No longer having to like lean over my table. I think there's some value in this technology, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think all we're seeing now it's like Google Glass.
Yeah.
All
that
we're
is-
seeing are the assholes using it, and I feel like it will be like Google Glass, where if you see one wearing one in public, you will just start yelling at them because like you don't want to be a part of whatever they're doing.
Yeah, don't film me. Don't you
Don't
know?
film me.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing because I don't know exactly how that works myself. But like, if you're walking down the street with the Vision Pro on, and you're filming, like Casey Neistat did for a YouTube video, he actually had other people filming from outside of himself. So I don't know if what he was getting footage wise was, I don't know how that worked out technically.
He did
Did
both.
he?
He
Okay.
like screen recorded from the goggles, and he had people like record. But he's a millionaire YouTuber, so he had a
I was going to
production.
say, yeah, it was very slick. I watched the whole, what was it, 8 minutes or so, where he was just talking about it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
no,
video.
I mean, Casey Neistat, when it comes down to like tech videos, he's definitely entertaining at the very least, if nothing else, and very informative as well. But it definitely, just watching him on the streets of New York with this thing on, I could not help but want to like sock him in the nose. And this is a guy I like. You know, this is a guy that I like his content already. I know that I like. So yeah, it didn't bode well for me. But again, I could be very wrong. I was wrong about the iPad. I didn't think that was going to be a thing because I was like, tablets, you get your phone or whatever. I was wrong about the Apple Watch too. So my track record with predictions with Apple stuff is very sketchy.
I would say anybody who's bet against Apple's like even the past like 30 years, I think has probably lost bets against Apple just in terms of
Sure.
like introducing a product to the market that then becomes the gold standard for that product. I mean, like it's easier to find AirPods or it's easier to find Raycons by Googling AirPods because it's just like it's a name brand, you know. It's like the Apple Watch is a name for any smartwatch. It's like they're doing the same thing again. So now the Samsung goggles are going to be slightly worse, much cheaper, and they are going to be called the Samsung Vision Pro.
Right, and they'll be like set fire to your head or something, just like because
yeah. And then Apple will make a good one that costs half as the amount in about a decade, and then that's the one that we'll all be like, "Hey, remember when they invented this? We all thought it was a brilliant idea from the first day." we saw it."
Yeah. I can go to the grocery store and be completely enveloped by my autism.
Yeah.
And never have to technically see another person. I can also see, this apple is bad.
Yeah,
It's a bad Honey Crisp.
I did like there was a demo. I don't remember who did it, but it was like someone's cooking, and they're like, okay, this pasta has 4 minutes left to boil, and the other one says 5 minutes left to boil, and he's looking around, and all the ingredients are labeled. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm a bit of an amateur chef myself. That actually feels useful. Feels like something I would use, but I'm not paying $4,000 for it. Not yet, at least. It feels like maybe the price point's just too high for me personally.
I think that like just the fact that Apple has entered this space, it's a matter of time before it's not the price point is not a problem for any of us at all. In the way that $1,000 smartphone would have been an unthinkable extravagance 10 years ago.
It is to me. I just I buy the $100 whatever the Android one is just so that I don't have to pay $1,000 every time I break my cell phone, which is about once a year. So. It feels like for clumsy guys like me, it's not the thing.
What's it going to be like when the Vision Pro kids start entering the school system?
Oh, dear God.
That's something to think about. I think that, I mean, my opinion about like teachers in general, like, but I taught high school, so like my opinion is teachers should not be like sitting down. So like if the Vision Pro, I'm imagining a baby raised on a Vision Pro is going to want a lot of activity, a lot of stuff happening in front of their face. I think that's important as a teacher. You want to be colorful, you want to be bright, you want to be in front of them. I think that's good to do anyway. As far as like past like the 5th grade also, because like those kids deserve to be entertained when you're teaching them. I just think that the Apple Vision Pro is going to be exactly like what the future holds for all of us in some like description. I don't know if it's the cost that's going to be less or the functionality that's going to be less, but like I think the idea of putting these on like an infant is like pretty imminent. I think that is what is going to happen.
Oh boy,
Gosh, imagine teaching a child how to use a credit card.
I mean. Yeah, literally. I mean, they do that. There are baby credit card machines like that babies that you give to children, like cash registers.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Like,
I never felt right. I never felt right giving them to my own children. My kids are 13 now, and like that never occurred to me. Like, yeah, we're gonna get you because it was like fake storefronts, right? You could buy like
There's those. I mean, there's like Barbie McDonald's.
Oh yeah,
like dolls.
Oh man,
too. I mean, like,
oh boy,
you could really cosplay as the working class with any collection of gadgets.
I don't know why, but maybe it was just my prurient like never will this happen to my children, despite the fact that yes, they're 13 now and they definitely want to spend money on things. I'm like, no, it didn't help. It didn't work. So fight it all you want, right? So Apple Vision Pro not only is the whole like because there was the Casey Neistat thing where he's working on the subway, but there have been all these videos where it's guys in Cybertrucks. By the way, I love these. This is at Elliot etc. The username circa 1928 Mickey Mouse. Apple probably had hundreds of meetings over the last half decade about avoiding the Google Glass effect. And like 3 days after release, it's already hard-coded as a product for douchebags. This video is just a guy coming out of a Cybertruck, slamming the door with both hands and waving his arms around, closing windows and doing it.
It looks like an Andy Samberg bit.
It kind of does look like a bit.
He looks like if any of the New Girl fans in the audience recognize Schmidt doing the drumline routine. That's exactly what he looks like in that video.
God, I haven't seen that show in forever, but I knew immediately what you were talking about the second you said it. Yes, he's doing...
He thinks he looks like Tom Cruise in Minority Report.
Exactly,
But
no,
he does not.
and that's definitely because I thought, oh yeah, fucking Minority Report. We're doing, and just like when you watch Blade Runner now, someone saying like zoom in, enhance. It's gonna be dated, I think, after a while. The Google Glass hole thing was a whole phenomenon, and I have a feeling that it's about to ramp up again. Speaking of phenomena, now I don't know if you saw this yet there, Wack. David Thorpe, also known as @ARR, on both Twitter and Blue Sky, posted this. The best thing about being unemployed is that I had a dream about a non-existent right-wing comedy event, and I had the time to make the flyer exactly according to the specifications of the dream. Have you seen this image?
No. I'm
okay.
Deeply excited.
Hold on a second. Let me.
Oh, no.
The Wake for Woke?
Yeah.
An evening of live entertainment celebrating the death of woke culture. hosted by Kevin Sorbo, of course. February 20th at the Sorbo Center for the Performing Arts. Featuring music, comedy, faith, and truth from Foldy Black, Lil Sorbo, Based Loris, which is... what kind of animal is that?
A slow loris or a lemur, maybe.
Okay, so lemur with a MAGA hat. Krippendorf, which looks like
it's Richard Dreyfuss.
Thank you. It's right. Thank you.
something.
I was like blanking on the name. Yeah, it's Richard Dreyfuss, and then Wyatt Riot,
which is an AI generated image.
Yes, it looks like one of the Duck Dynasty guys that they just put through a bunch of filters, and then a fat comedian who just goes by the name of Googie.
It's a picture of Ralphie May.
Is it Ralphie May? Oh shit!
Is it not? Oh, maybe it's not Ralphie May.
I can't tell.
Actually tell. I thought it was Ralphie May, but now I can't tell.
It could be one of those.
They've credited him as Googie. And
Googie.
it could be an AI thing too. So it's
and then the URL is spoot.co/wakewoke, streaming exclusively on Spoot.
So fucking good.
And all this apparently just like from a dream that David Thorpe had. I don't know if you remember this one from a couple of years back. I don't know how long it's been, actually. It was an early Twitter thing, I think.
2021-ish, maybe, I want to say.
Was it? Oh, the Teen Roast with Curbs Lurb, Chris Del Chris. It's all these like really ridiculous Colby Bolby.
Yeah, it was like Hickory Dickory.
Yeah. So it's definitely in that same vibe, but I love the really badly cut out Kevin Sorbo in the big yellow circle. It just says Sorbo. Yes, it feels right. That's the thing, is that like it feels like this could be a real thing. It feels like this could be Cat Turd Fest or whatever it was called. Turd Stock. Turd Stock.
Hey, you know what?
You're gonna defend Turd Stock? I'd like to hear it.
No.
Just relevant to some of the things you're talking about. I don't know if you guys saw the clip that was, or the image that was going around on Twitter of the Blaze headline.
Blaze headline.
Like, so it was basically like, so what if the left has Taylor Swift? We've got Cat Turd.
That's gotta feel really good. That's gotta feel really good when you've got Cat Turd. It's gonna feel really good when you've got Cat Turd.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to advertise this? Yeah,
the biggest pop star in the world, or a guy that had like a band was called like the Goofy Grapes or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Groovy Grapes.
Groovy Grapes.
I have a physical copy of that CD.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
How is it?
You can find it online. The guy who uploaded it online, the reason you can find it online is the same guy who sent it to me.
That's fantastic.
When the QAnon Anonymous podcast posted that it had been posted online, they DM'd the guy and he just made it public. And then I DM'd the guy and he's like, do you want the physical copy? And I was like, yes. And then he sent it to me.
Hell yes.
Even crazier than this, he sent me the CD and it didn't have the CD inside of it.
No.
And then 6 months later, he DMs me and he's like, I just found the CD in my CD copier. I never took it out when I uploaded it to my Google Drive. I never sent you the CD. I'm going to send you the CD. And then in a separate package, like 6 months later, he sent me the actual CD as well as the case. So I have the full copy.
Worth the wait.
Yeah.
The Groovy Grapes. Having the physical document feels like a very different thing to me. I don't know. I was always that way with bands and stuff. Like, yeah, I gotta have something I can hold in my hands, and now you have Cat Turd's album that you can hold in your hand.
Yeah, I know. I'm privileged.
Amazing. I know. That's great.
I have a piece of Cool Keith's belt on my
shelf. All right.
I don't know if it's as cool as Cat Turd's record.
Yeah, there's a chance Cat Turd held this CD, so you got to think about that too.
Cool Keith's belt, though. Yeah. Oh man. So we're all going to the Wake on Woke, right? Yeah, that's whatever. February 20th, right? That's
February 20th.
Okay,
yeah,
less than 2 weeks, so we got to get our tickets now.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna go pretty hard for Mardi Gras, so we'll see.
Okay, we'll have to plan around that. So, Whack, have you seen Drake's dick?
Okay, so that's funny that you should ask. No, I was trying, but I saw a lot of dicks in the process.
Yeah, that was a very interesting day on Twitter, to be sure. A lot of hogs that were not Drakes.
So is the really big one Drake's or is it not?
According to the source I was able to save of a Twitter user at Blackboys, the O is a number 0. This is a still from the video, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean he's packing.
It's a hog.
It is a hog.
I don't know. I mean, still, it's like a cut in the like. Even there, like with the video, if the video's not loading, so you can't tell because if it was moving, I don't know. You can't really judge anything by that video.
For all we know, he's holding a corn dog.
Fine.
I'm kind of
No,
feeling
leave
that
it-
way. Yeah.
Lounging in his bed, no pants on, eating a corn dog.
Fine. You guys don't believe me? Let's find it. Here, give me a second, and I'll fucking send it to you. Hold on.
Apparently, he has a Prince Albert.
That wouldn't
Really?
surprise me. He does seem like
He's like a sex nerd guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It
Yeah,
definitely
he is. He is that kind of guy, as opposed to the other kind of guy that Drake is rumored to be.
Jesus
There
Christ.
it is.
I guess we,
Right.
you know,
We'll take what we can get, I guess.
anxiously
not know-
waiting for this penis.
You do not know how much gay porn I had to scroll past to get to that, by the way. It was surprising, gotta be honest. Although, I guess with a Twitter name like Black Boys, I guess.
I don't know. All right, no, that does look okay. Yeah, all right.
Let's see the
Yeah,
video.
it's a big
Yeah,
dick. He's got a big dick. I don't know. Drake has a big penis. Good for him.
He's got lotion on his dick. He's stroking it right now, et cetera, et cetera. He's just wagging it in the video, which I think is
Yeah,
really
just-
I don't know if I would call that sexy. What he's doing didn't get me
No.
going.
I don't know anyone that would be like, "Oh, cool."
I view this as a purely academic
Yes,
exercise.
absolutely.
I don't view this as any sort of. That doesn't look like sex. Black Boys has much cuter stuff on there than this. I can say that for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I was just trying to find that. I'm like, okay, blowjob, okay.
There's so
okay.
much more gay porn out there than this.
Yeah, and it's so much better because it's not shot on like the worst iPhone ever made in a bedroom with no lighting into a mirror. Like, 5 different. It's been copied 500 times, so it's grainier than fucking body cam footage. It's terrible.
He shot it on a fucking iPod Touch.
Well, I really need to know. I need to know what it looks like soft.
Honestly, I don't care.
I need to,
You need
I've
to know
seen
what
it-
it looks like soft.
so I can
I'd
really
like you to
gauge.
expand on that, actually.
Well, I had a coworker come up the other day, and he was like talking with, this bullshit with me, another guy about how he had a big dick, and I'm like, "Can you wrap it around behind your knee?" And he goes, "No." I'm like, "Don't say you have a big dick."
Can you wrap it behind your knee?
I knew a guy who had a penis flat. So I'm sure we all have met one person, one man, who had like a huge cock and was not shy about letting everyone know.
Right.
And you probably saw it more often than you'd like. I knew
Yeah.
a guy who his penis looked like one of those dried like squid things that like people
Oh,
eat as a
God.
snack in
I
Korea.
think I come from a different time than y'all. I'm not so sure what you mean by the friend who just whips his dick out all the time. Actually, I don't know that friend.
I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and
Okay, so I didn't. My school had girls at it, so there weren't really people doing that.
despite the homophobia and the number of times I was called the F slur, there were several guys who, during class, would peek the tip of their dick over the edge of the desk to get a laugh out of someone, and invariably someone would laugh because that's really fucking weird. Why are you doing that? But it's that same guy who then you realize that's got to be a big dick because he's a big guy and it's going above, it's going above the surface of the desk. So yes, I've been
That is
in situations.
that is a
So it
classic
sounds
high
to me,
school-
so I understand. You have to know what that. You've seen the grainy Zapruder film dick. You need to see the dick in its rawest form. You really need to want to get to brass tacks on this dick and know what you're really working with. I understand what you're saying.
He's the J. Jonah Jameson of dick pics. He wants to see pictures of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's cock.
This was bologna sandwiches. I need to see Spider-Man's dick. Yeah, it's just,
It's not the worst hog I've ever seen.
no. I mean, look, he's. I kept thinking of the guy from that fucking Thug Shaker video. I don't know why.
Do you remember the Thug
Yeah,
Shaker
were you privy to
phenomenon
this?
whack?
Thug Shaker? No, this doesn't look like anything I'm aware of.
It was a very racially
No, I don't know what this is.
questionable, I guess, video series for a gay porn site that would feature guys going out to, predominantly African American communities, paying these guys who are supposedly straight to have some fun with them and mock them at the same time. It was very much in that, like, what if Bang Bus was racist?
Yeah,
It's a
that's
fetish.
not the part that like.
It was, yes, race play, absolutely.
It's like a
So it was
rap
these white guys going like, oh, yeah, shake your ass, don't
Okay.
you? It's the Thug Shaker. Show me the fucking Thug Shaker. But then there would also just be, like, videos of these same guys jacking off. And so, like...
A lot going on there.
Right.
But
That makes sense to me.
so
We'll
Those
pay
two
you to
things seem
jack off
very
for us.
connected to me.
That's what their whole thing was, yeah.
Thug Shaker became a TikTok meme.
Yes,
by
on its
some
own. Yeah.
guy that called himself the Homeless Prophet,
Oh, yeah.
who we almost had on the show one time.
Homeless_prophet is still out there.
You fumbled the bag with the homeless
We
prophet.
did.
I'm so sorry.
He had to, like, change accounts, and, like, I left the Discord, so I couldn't get back. Anyways, the whole thing.
The prototype money and jet fuel. And,
Oh, God.
And the jet fuel oil. Or the
And
jet oil. That's what it was.
Yep.
And then there was that kid, 5 or 6 months ago, that like leaked military secrets to impress other people, like on like a World of Tanks Discord.
Yeah,
And
War Thunder.
The
yeah.
Discord was called like
The
Thug Shaker
Thug Shaker
Central.
yes.
This kid is going to spend like the rest of his life in jail to impress other neckbeards on the internet with like government
Oh,
secrets.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah, okay. I didn't know these things were all connected to each other.
yeah.
but
So the
that
name of the
is- I didn't
Discord,
know that.
the name of
Time
the
is a
Discord
flat
was
circle.
Thug Shaker Central, and so
Oh my god.
it's so bizarre. Like
Oh my god.
the stuff we talk about every week, I have to go back and be like, oh yeah, no, that's connected to this. And that's it. I can sit there with the cork board and the red string sometimes. Just like,
Yeah, that's not good to do to your brain.
No,
it's
you gotta
not.
stop doing
Very bad,
that.
very
you gotta
bad.
stop doing that.
know.
Is actually what you have to do.
exactly right.
Pattern recognition is actually a symptom. It's
Yes.
not like a skill.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah,
Haven't you seen that Jim Carrey movie, The Number 23?
number 23? Oh, not a great
Where
movie,
he plays
but
the saxophone with a bad tribal tattoo. Does he also start out that movie as like a dog catcher or something?
I don't remember.
It's something.
I don't remember much of it except for like, wow, this is Joel Schumacher at his absolute worst. What is happening to me?
Rest in power.
I know. I can't be too mad.
Fucked 20,000 boy pussies if he's to be believed.
Look, I can't be too mad. He made Phone Booth, which was a stellar little.
He made phone booth.
Yeah, and that diner. So I mean, between the two.
Well, I love I love his work with Batman.
Okay,
I'm a big fan of those movies.
you're an appreciator of the Joel Schumacher Batman. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Mad respect, because that's not an easy. That's not an easy road to hoe.
I like the first one better than the second one.
Well, sure.
But yeah, but I think they're both quite good. I think when he pulls out the bad credit card in the second one, that's comedy gold. It's really who's doing more work than the bat card? Nobody.
Of all the things in that movie, I'm like, okay, Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy, cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger is bat credit card is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it was not afraid to go there.
Okay.
It put the glow stuff into Arnold Schwarzenegger's mouth, and it was like it's going to get sillier than this right here. What you're looking at, it will get sillier.
Yeah, he had like a LED
Yeah.
in the roof of his mouth.
yeah,
And one time
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't wired right, and he could have electrocuted.
Jesus Christ, I did not know that part. Holy cow.
Crazy ass movie. All right, man. Crypto scam.
Crypto scam o' the week, whack.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Oh, buddy.
Do you have some hot tips for me?
Well, we can tell you what not to buy. That's a very least.
Okay, cool.
CoinDesk has the story. The headline: OpenX, the exchange built by founders of doomed hedge fund Three Arrows, is shutting down. Today was actually the last day for settling your positions. And then a week from today, you got to withdraw your money because it's going bye-bye. So the exchange was created, again, according to CoinDesk, last year by Kyle Davies and Shuju. Their previous company, Three Arrows Capital, or 3AC, blew up in 2022. More than $1 billion in assets belonging to Zhu Davies and Davies' wife, Kelly Chen, were frozen by the British Virgin Islands court last year.
Oh, God, you don't want that. You don't want the British Virgin Islands freezing your accounts. That's the last thing on earth.
Of all the places. And Zhu was arrested in Singapore for helping.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You do not want to get arrested in Singapore.
No.
Places you don't want to get arrested.
Exactly right.
And he was wearing the most basic ass Nike fit when it happened, too.
Oh, no.
Is this real or are you just riffing?
No, he looked like a guy who like is getting credit card notices because he ran his credit card over at the finish line.
So I Googled this name, Three Arrows Capital, because I was assuming that it had any connection to the anarchist idea of the
you would think.
Downward
Yeah,
arrows.
you would think.
No, except for their logo is 3 upward arrows, which is very funny to think of them being like arrows that they're shooting at people.
Well, or I think the idea is that's where the trajectory of your money
Line go
is. It's
up.
going up. Yeah, line go up three times. So
Yeah, not at the British Virgin Islands has anything to say about it.
exactly right. Yeah. So the exchange that they set up was apparently no good. According to Decrypt, Open Exchange, announced it was ceasing operations, which then set off a wave of vindication among their competitors, which was CoinFlex. CoinFlex was the previous venture of the three, Lam, Zhu, and Davies. When it was controversially rebranded to OpenX, the creditors say they were left with no power in the new company. So I don't think that same trick's going to work again.
No.
Something tells me. Because they changed the name to avoid problems. And Molly White from Web3 is going great, posting this. Who can believe this? OpenX, the crypto derivatives exchange created by people who blew up 3 Arrows Capital, will be shutting it down. The exchange was originally announced just over a year ago with a tentative name of GTX because G comes after F.
Oh, like FTX.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a computer joke. I get it.
So yes, it became insolvent. Shuju just got out of jail. He, Kyle Davies, and other executives are shutting down the project. Immediately announced they're trying to open yet another crypto derivatives trading project. It's almost as if, Brian,
Yeah.
these are bad guys.
I think they are bad people. I think it's easy to say that these are bad hombres. And
It's
I hope they don't get
almost.
sent over the border.
If you go to the Wikipedia page for Three Arrows Capital, as I have done here,
Okay.
and you just go to the citations,
Oh,
like every
boy.
reference, everywhere all of the information comes from, the headlines are all like crypto hedge funds collapse.
Yeah.
Three Arrows investments. Fraud. Like well, the blockchain behind this stable coin has gone away. It's like,
Oh yeah.
just read don't read the Wikipedia page, just read the little numbers afterward and you'll see some really good info about whatever their next project is going to be. Kyle Davies and Suju do not have Wikipedia pages yet, but they have
They're
hella
gonna be,
numbers
yeah.
after their names.
Oh boy. Here's June 2023. Their crypto company collapsed. They went to Bali. That's New York Times. Oh boy. Let's see. June 2023. A hedge fund exploded. The comeback isn't going so well. That's Wall Street Journal. Oh boy. If only people were reading physical media, they would know to avoid these guys. So it went from in June saying, we're going to borrow 1.3 billion from fund's founders to September. Yeah, they arrested the founder.
Yeah.
Not good.
Very bad.
Yeah, it's very like it's been very telling. Like in the past few months, I've started to do like some like research into like money markets and things like that.
Sure.
And like what you quickly find out when reading about any of this stuff is like the media is trying to put the best face on this industry it possibly can in financial reporting. Like once you read a story, that is the nicest they can say it.
Right.
Whoever has reported on something. If you can sort of read between the lines of like guys like Kyle Davies, like you will be able to see like, oh, do not ever put any of your money anywhere near that man. If that man has put money somewhere, you need to avoid him.
Yeah.
This is the one thing, like, I mean, I still don't know anything about money, but like for me, I was like, if everybody knows Elon Musk is a fucking idiot and that Twitter's entire stock price or entire valuation is based on Tesla's price, which is based on Twitter's price, how does that work? And basically, if you read any article about it, it's like, well, it does. So are you going to put your money in it or not? And it's like a kind of all they really care about is like that the kayfabe is still going. So what's your play? Like nobody is like scared by this guy just like opening a new company in Bali or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
it's just very like
this is
it's very fucking sad in a way. They're like gambling addicts.
that is how it feels. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, basically, I mean, part of why FTX imploded was that Sam Bankman-Fried was just like fucking trading on leverage and apparently making like the worst trades ever, getting fucking stopped out, just getting completely fucking up.
Wasn't he making like withdrawals from users' accounts?
Yeah, he was
stuff? Like,
using.
he was not. Yeah.
Yeah, he was using users' funds to do all that, and you know, I feel like he's somehow going to end up getting a slap on the wrist. All said and done.
Bankman-Fried?
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah.
You think he's gonna get? I mean, I haven't really read about it. Do you think he's gonna? Is there a chance he'll like not get in trouble? It seems like they want him to be in trouble for it.
I think they're going to throw him under the bus, but they're not going to give him what he should get. He's probably going to deserve 10 times worse than what his sentence is going to be. I think the public humiliation that he went through.
Yeah, I feel like about him the way I kind of thought about Martin Shkreli too, which was kind of like, hey, he sucks, but like they all suck. Like we know they're all like this, right? It's not just him.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna try to like stitch him up worse than they did Shkreli, just in a way to like be like, see, we got the bad one. Like the bad one's gone now.
Yeah, it feels like he's being made an example, maybe.
A scapegoat.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. We're looking for somebody, and I guess this is the guy. But there's people off doing worse things daily, so I don't know. There have been all sorts of stuff where founders are just taken off with insane amounts of money.
There was a fucking meme coin called Dog Whiff Hat that was on Solana, and the dev rugged it for, I don't know, $10,000-$20,000, but the community kept it going, and it kept growing and growing, and so he got so mad that he redeployed the contract on Ethereum, saying, I'm not going to rug this time. And so now everyone's waiting. All right, when you go rug on these guys again. It's such a greedy, individualistic, savage place, and there's such little regulation. It's you're really fucking playing with fire the entire time. And we see people getting burned even when you could argue that they don't deserve to.
I don't think anybody.
When I say people getting burned, I'm talking about like retail, like the guy that cuts your hair that bought Bitcoin at 64K.
Oh my God, the line cook at my job.
Oh no,
just keeps
no,
it's a problem.
He's sunk costing his way into the outhouse.
Hey, listen, he's just DCA.
It's gonna turn around. No, it's gonna turn around. Quarter 3 of 25 is where we're gonna see the big.
No. Is that as far out?
Boy. He is. Oh, my man is. He's got it all in.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, that is the theory that all of these crypto people have, is that sometime in the next 10 to 18 months, we're going to see the bull market kick back in. And I've told Jason this a few times. We're going to find something twice as stupid as Bored Apes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the Fed is just waiting to lower those interest rates and let these fucking weirdos get back in there and start doing whatever crappy little scam that is obviously a scam to everybody except for the people they bilk billions off of again.
Right.
It'll be great. It's very cool that it just keeps happening.
Yeah. Guess how much a pudgy penguin goes for now on OpenSea?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now? A pudgy penguin on OpenSea?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to OpenSea.org and I'm going to find out how much I can get a pudgy penguin for.
I'm going to guess, without knowing anything about this project, minus the name, because I've heard the name before, and Whack, you tell me if I'm anywhere close, okay? So I'm gonna set my guess. I'm gonna say a single pudgy penguin is gonna go for about $3,500.
Okay. I had some issues because oh my fucking god.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. This does not bode well. I'm not getting into the Showcase Showdown. What
It's
is
a lot of money. How much is 17 Ethereum?
17 Ethereum.
Oh
is,
no. Oh no.
Hold on, let me get my calculator out.
Oh no.
300,000.
No.
17
It is, right? It's
37,400. But there have been pudgy penguins.
$37,400. Okay, so yeah,
Oh,
that
wow.
one's 37,400. That one's 17. There's one here that's 22. He's got a little. Oh, I like him though. He's got a little afro and stuff. But yeah,
Is he the-
some of these are a lot more.
Is he the pool's closed penguin? Is that what's going
Oh, I had it organized low to high, so like the cheapest one is 17,000.
Oh, Jesus
High to
Christ.
low.
Oh.
High to low. There's one that's 10,000 Ethereum. They seem to be like stunt priced because it's like 10,000, 1,900, 420.69.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The other one's pi. The other one's 333. A lot of these are like meme numbers. Like they're not real numbers.
Yes, there are people doing stunt prices, 666 Ethereum and all that. I've been seeing reports of pudgy penguins for selling as much as 100 Ethereum.
No.
Oh my god.
No.
And you don't even know what a pudgy penguin is, but apparently they've got like a fucking comic book that's like well done, and they've got like fucking plushies that you can buy at Walmart.
Oh god. Oh god. I feel like this is it.
Did I
This is-
ruin your guys' lives a little bit? They're like,
No, so I have the same question for the pudgy penguins I had for the apes, which is
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Would anybody?
they just like
For what reason?
They like the JPEGs.
Yeah, we it's not we like the stock, it's we like the JPEGs.
It's a good JPEG.
Like if you say to me, "Oh, this cute little penguin guy's in a bunch of comic books and he's making a bunch of money on streetwear," I'm like, "Yeah, I get that. I understand that." But then you're like, and he costs $4 million.
Yeah.
And he's owned by the weirdest guy from your high school.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't get why.
No. Well, cuz like
Get why that second part is related.
Because like streetwear, I get you can wear it, you can show it off. There's a physical thing that that is like a status symbol. That makes sense to me. I can physically touch it. I can I can go to Walmart and get it.
But they think of it. They think of it as like a ticket. They
Yes.
think like, I own a pudgy penguin. I am the same as the guy who spent $4 million on pudgy penguins to boost the price. I'm basically the same as that millionaire because I'm in his community now.
Yeah,
And it's like, it's this bizarrely persistent grift
Yeah.
that works in this space.
Yeah, because it keeps fucking happening. Keeps happening.
Like you can, I mean, you know, drive yourself really insane and just take a bunch of psychedelics and watch a YouTube video about crypto being a bust from like 6 years ago. And it
Yeah.
will really upset you
Yeah.
how like just everything they say is entirely accurate and correct. And then for some reason,
Yeah. Dan Olson folding ideas. Line goes up.
yes, but it goes back like the videos he cites in that too. It's like just going so far back into these like different people just like over and over again. Like, this is a scam. You are being lied to. Do not put any money into this. We're not tricking you. The people who aren't making money off of this aren't tricking you. The guys who already spent money on it, they are.
You can go back as far as the original white paper for Bitcoin, and there's people saying this is a scam,
Yes.
and no one's listening. You know what I mean? Like the only people that are listening, it's confirmation bias. Like, we already know it's a scam, sure, and we're just going to be like, yeah, and you're preaching to the choir at a certain point.
I was saying Bitcoin was a scam when it was $200.
Yeah.
And your old bass player cornered me at a venue to tell me that I was wrong for posting in like 2011, 2012 about the energy inefficiency back then.
Right.
About the energy inefficiency of Bitcoin. And this is a guy that you had to drive to gigs because he didn't have a car.
Yep.
Anybody who knew about Bitcoin in 2011 also knew about the energy issues.
That's right.
Because if you tried to buy a mining rig at the time, trying to get a power supply for it, it was like impossible because like it was like that's why those guys got rich because they figured out how to build those rigs before anybody
exactly.
else. Like what appears to have happened is what happened. These guys made this thing to scam people, and now they're just giving other people to hold the bag for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I in 2014, the guy that ran a Natural Selection 2 server that I played on Which
Oh,
God,
good. Yeah.
he DM'd
Trustworthy
me
fella is what you're saying. Yeah.
He DM'd
Yeah,
me
yeah,
on,
sounds like
he
it.
DM'd me on Steam and asked me if I wanted to go in halvesies on a mining rig. And I gotta be honest with you, sometimes I wish I kind of did.
Well, how much was he asking? That's the
I
question.
can't remember. It was like $500.
I was gonna say it can't be more than $1,000.
No.
You gotta really sit and think about that for a second.
Well, at the time too, I mean, neither of us were making that kind of money, so yeah.
I know. I mean, of course, you know.
Yeah, the fucking mic. There's that infamous post from like NeoGaf or something about the guy who left his mining rig on when he was asleep, and it made his room so hot that it gave him brain damage.
Oh God. Which you have to wonder if he was doing crypto mining to begin with, if he wasn't already brain damaged. But that's a whole nother. Sorry, that was a joke. That was a joke just for me.
Well, nobody talks about the millions of lives taken every year to feed the crypto gods, and that's they're the real victims.
Oh, absolutely.
The blood mines that are pumping out human after human in order to make our delicious coins and our beautiful penguins.
Exactly right. Oh boy!
Osama bin Laden, come and take it. Come take my pudgy penguin.
Some guy with a sawed off and his mining rig under his arm. Come and take it. His rig goes down every couple hours because he's in Texas and their power grid's fucked up.
Keeps waffling on and on. Yeah.
Oh, you guys feel pretty high on the hog about Texas's power grid out there, I bet, huh? You guys feel pretty superior to those motherfuckers?
Oh, look, I will say this. We do live in a city where it is one of the headquarters of an electric company. So we feel like they're going to protect their own more than other people. And, you know, it's us, Illinois, and a couple other smaller areas around.
We have hydro, we have nuclear, we have coal, and we have gas power plants all within the region.
We got a few solars as well out in the outlier areas.
Yeah.
And you guys still look at Texas like they're the punks, right? I'm trying to instigate a rivalry with your pod.
Here's the deal. Okay. I got family that live in Texas, and they moved there before the .com bubble burst, and they are regretting it every day. And I'm doing the thumbing my nose at them and doing the little waggle every time I mention Texas on the show. So yes, a little bit.
Yeah, I have family.
I mean, that's
I had family that all moved down to Texas in the mid-aughts. Both my grandparents have finally retired. My aunt and my cousin, 3 different houses. We're all live on the same street, just a couple houses apart from each other.
Okay.
This big beautiful thing, yada. Grandparents moved down there. This place outside South Lake, Texas, which is a hellscape.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow, people really do take football like it's a religion down here. I thought that was just a joke. But anyways, within like 2 years, my aunt, her youngest daughter goes to college. She's like, oh, I just don't want to live in this big house by myself. So she leaves. Then my cousin and her husband are like, I think we're going to start a family. This house is too small. And just left my grandparents in the middle of fucking suburban hellscape, Texas.
Oh, boy.
Everyone eventually, after both my grandparents passed, moved back to St. Louis. And they're like, oh, it's so much cheaper in Plano. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for making St. Louis expensive, though.
Yeah.
I will say you started talking about your family moving from the Midwest to Texas in the like before you said when it was. That's kind of like saying like a Central European family moved to South America. I just want to more details. Like when and like what is precipitated.
You got to be very specific. Yeah.
My cousin married a Belgian national.
Oh my.
So I don't know his relation to King Leopold. But it's possible.
They're direct descendants.
I was going to say,
it's son. It's his son, even.
Wow, he looks really good.
Yeah.
Must be.
Leopold was fucking late.
Yeah, for sure. So, Whack, we brought you on previously to talk about the Cloverfield ARG. Do you want to do that, or you want to go all in on Revolt?
I'll talk about both of them, actually.
Sounds good.
Because and don't cut this. Leave it all in. Because
okay.
I literally was like, I paused a YouTube video, the same YouTube video I paused probably last time, to talk about this while it was fresh in my mind. The Cloverfield ARG, I wanted to talk about 6 months ago or whatever it was because it was like this really strange thing that there was like not a lot of good content on, but I did find somebody who made some really good content on it. And as soon as I can shout him out, I will. The Cloverfield ARG was really cool. So were you guys involved in the Cloverfield? Dylan B on YouTube. That is
Dylan
the
B.
channel.
Okay.
Dylan B.
Right.
Excellent stuff on the Cloverfield. Not enough subscribers. Please like and subscribe, Dylan
Okay.
B. Were you guys aware of the Cloverfield ARG?
I knew nothing about it at the time. The movie itself kind of took me by surprise, Blair Witch style, because, I mean, the trailers were kind of neat, and I knew it might have been a J.J. Abrams adjacent project because of the bad robot thing, but when we had first talked to you about it, this was new to me, and I'm still like, they did a whole I Love Bees Halo 2 thing?
They did an insane amount of work on this, and I was just like, because I was just going to dip my toe in the Cloverfield ARG, but it's not really, it needs to be shouted out that what they did is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They put a trailer in front of a Transformers movie that led to a website. That website had 2 photos on it, and a few days later, it had a 3rd photo on it. Entire forums are being set up dedicated to like going over like when like people like literally like knew J.J. Abrams's like alt accounts that he was using on old forums from like the Alias days to like figure out what he could be doing. Like people were like going nuts and could not figure it out. I had a friend who is like a programmer now, but when we were in high school, he was just like my only computer friend that I knew. And he was like following like the website when it had pictures, and then there was like metadata on one of the things, and then it took you to a company's website that turned out to be a different company's other website that was connected to the thing you saw in the trailer, that then turned into merch that you could actually purchase, and then some of the people who bought the merch got like cards that took them to other websites. Like the intricacies of what they did to promo the first Cloverfield and continue to do with all the new Cloverfield stuff to this day is insane. There is still a dedicated group of people, a sort of samurai of the land who continue to browse forums and read metadata to find where JJ's next trick is going to be laid. And like J.J. Abrams is not involved in it anymore. And like it's just nerds talking to nerds, and it's become this like subculture of people that just like must fucking hate each other.
I would imagine. Yeah,
they surely do not get along well. But it's a very interesting sort of thing that they carved out into like multiple MySpace accounts, and then like a secret like vlog that like a woman made that like they uploaded like multiple vlogs where one of the characters from the movie is talking to one of the other characters from the movie, like off screen. It's like footage that was like released onto the internet for anybody to find in like 2008. It was crazy.
I was gonna say, because they've done 2 sequels since then. Has it done a lot of ARG like that since?
Yeah, every time. So like every time there's a new trailer for like a new Cloverfield thing, like every single frame, people are like putting the whole trailer into like spectrographs and like all these different like readers and instruments and tools and code decipherers and stuff like immediately. Like the hex code for every like a color that you can see on a screen will be like put through like a like they no, it's like nerds talking to nerds. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have to outsmart each other,
That's a level of dedication that I don't think any movie franchise has, save from maybe Godzilla.
It's the same people too. It is the Godzilla nerds doing this. It's the same guys. They're in the Godzilla forums, arguing, and then they're in the Cloverfield forums, goading each other.
And the same people watching that Monarch show every week are like, "Yeah, now I've got to do this." Yeah, that's really good, by the way. But Brian? Have you seen anything beyond the first Cloverfield movie? I don't remember.
Cloverfield in theaters.
Oh yeah, good experience.
Which was fun.
Yeah,
and I saw the movie with the chick from Scott Pilgrim and
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah. Phenomenal sequel.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I love John Goodman.
John Goodman's great. And also just to take a step back to the ARG, wasn't there also like a fake energy drink company?
Slusho.
Slusho, yeah. Yeah.
Slusho was like a part of it. So like Slusho is sort of how it became like a real like thing. So you could buy Slusho merch, and then some people who bought Slusho merch got those cards that would like say like "Help me, I'm trapped in a Slusho factory."
Oh, Jesus.
And yeah,
Help! I'm stuck in a keyboard factory.
yeah.
Well, because didn't 7-Eleven have a Slusho promo too? Wasn't there like a
I think when
tie-in?
10 Cloverfield Lane came out,
Okay.
not when the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing about Slusho, their slogan was "Bet you can't drink just 6."
Oh boy.
One of the pictures that they put onto the Cloverfield website, the 11808.com website, the picture had like a recipe. It was written in Japanese, and the only thing that people couldn't translate was this like thing that appeared to say like sea nectar or something like that, and then it turned out to be like the main ingredient of Slusho, and then it was like this company that was drilling. They did like a lot of fucking work to like make like lore for this thing before the movie ever came out, and now like when they did the Cloverfield Paradox, like
Yes.
a bunch of different trailers were put out with like different numbers flashing on them and all these different things. Like they really like, yeah, they continue to, yeah, I don't know. They, it's a different part of the world. And when I first came on here and I wanted to talk about it, I was like, this is crazy that this happened, huh? And then I was like, oh God, they're still doing this. I do not want to talk to any of those people. I do not want to be involved with what they're doing.
Because I remember about Cloverfield Paradox is that they it snuck up on you. They dropped you with a trailer at the Super Bowl one year. It was a couple years back. And it's just like, yeah, after the game, this movie's going to be on Netflix. And sure enough, I went home after the game. I was hanging out with some friends. I went home and boom, there it was on Netflix. I watched the whole thing. Pretty good movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. That kind of stealth mark, because they been doing a lot of lead up for Paradox, or was that just when the trailers hit? Because that's the part.
No, that was
that
was
was like the night.
That was what they did. Yeah. But even in that, like people were freeze framing to, they were ready. There are screen recorders going at every corner of the internet right now, waiting for the next bit of Cloverfield thing to happen.
Is there anything new? Is there something coming up that I need to be aware of? Because
I didn't look into that. I was just trying to brush up on the history of it, so I don't know the upcoming situation with the Cloverfield community. Once again, I don't really want their ire or their attention.
Sure. No,
so,
understood. Understood and agreed. I get it.
The other thing I have been working on is I have a YouTube video that I have written but have not recorded yet. But I just read a book. Are either of you familiar with Julius Evola or Evola? I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
The name does not ring a bell.
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so he's a philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google the name Julius Evola, you usually get related searches Mussolini, related searches Adolf Hitler.
Oh no!
Oh
boy!
So he
related searches Jordan B. Peterson.
Hey-o!
Big thinkers.
That's not coincidental.
Oh no, I would imagine not. Yeah.
No, Evola is his main interests are comparative religion, esotericism, hermeticism, metaphysics, history, political philosophy. Strange that comes so far down the list because I just read this fucking book. Symbology and mythology. Yeah. So what he wrote about, what this book that I'm going to be talking about on my YouTube video is about is this book, The Revolt Against the Modern World. Now, I haven't done the necessary research into Evola's personal life. I have some guesses about how that's gone for him after having read this book. But there's like a couple things you really have to understand about his work in order to like. This is why I'm making a YouTube video about it. If you go on YouTube right now and you look up Julius Evola, it's all statue avatar guys talking about how like we need to tame the chaos dragons. Because that's very much what he was talking about. Was taming the chaos dragons from a lowness in spirit. He had a lot of really healthy dog whistles of like. You could almost be tricked into thinking it wasn't racist if you read this book. it is a slog to get through. First of all,
I would imagine. Yeah. I would,
I do not recommend. I'm gonna pull up my ebook that I have here. I'm gonna skip to the middle. We are on page 253. I'm gonna start at the middle paragraph here. Last but not least, the victory of a leader was often regarded by the Romans as a separate entity, numenem, the mysterious life of which constituted the focus of special cult, feasts, sacred games, rituals, and sacrifices were destined to renew its presence. The Victoria Caesaris is the best example of this, being the equivalent of an initiatory or sacrificial action. Every victory was believed to generate an entity that was distinct from the destiny and from the particular individuality of the mortal being from which it derived, just as is in the case of the victory of the divine ancestors. This entity was believed to be capable of establishing a line of special spiritual influences. That's one sentence. Woo!
That's some Samuel Beckett shit, right?
Yeah.
That's one sentence. And I just finished his book, and I've got to say, he uses a lot of fancy words and weird punctuation and Latin, but basically, the revolt against the modern world is that, like, the revolt itself is where we get rid of all things modern so that we can be our best selves. And how do we know where our best selves lie? Well, we don't need to look inward. We don't need to ask our friends or our neighbors or our parents or anything or anybody. We just need to look to the past. What did people say? And the most reliable information we can get from the past is, of course, scripture. Now, when I say scripture, I don't just mean the Bible, interestingly. The Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Talmud, he uses all manner of religious texts willy-nilly throughout this entire thing. But the way he uses it is to subtly say things like the Brahman, who were then called patricians. And now, if you don't know what those words mean, you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. But what he is saying is that the upper caste of people are in some way divined by God to be put there.
Yeah.
The Brahman of the castes of India are the divine righted people, the people who are closest to God, and the patricians were the rich people of the Roman Empire. So those two disconnected ideas then become this thing of well, it's better to be rich. So if you're a rich white guy, it sounds like you're the best kind of guy. Kind of. That's weird.
So
That's really specific. Yeah, I don't know.
so at first I was thinking is this some weird pseudo primitivist stuff? I'm like, is this some Fight Club shit? And then now it's
it is.
Okay.
It is Fight Club
Yeah.
shit. I mean, it is Fight Club shit. It 1,000% is. Because it's this whole thing of it's also Fight Club shit because it is gay as hell.
Hell yeah.
That's my favorite part about Fight Club is that it was gay as hell. Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of homophobia from the text, but I don't know if I need I have an academic background in some of this stuff, reading comparative literature and ancient old books and stuff. I've read a lot of these, and it kind of feels with what he's doing here, it's a very obvious trick to anybody who can see the sleight of hand that he's doing, but he's doing the same thing that Ben Shapiro does. He's just giving you a bunch of information, and then by the time you could say, hey, wait a second, why are you talking about the Vikings and the Incas? What do those two have to do with each other? It's no, what's important is that men are on top and women are on bottom. That
yes,
it's better to be a master than it is a slave. It's better to be the day than the night. I don't get that one, but that's a huge part of it for him. The day is better than the night. The sun's primacy over the moon. The solar calendar's primacy over the lunar calendars. A lot of it's taken up with calendar shit, and measuring and stuff. A lot of it is the Chaos Dragons stuff. And then there is the racial stuff.
I was gonna say day and night. I was like, oh, it's better to be white than black. That's what it sounded like to me the minute you said it.
You would think that.
Yeah.
This is where Julius plays a fun little game with us.
Okay.
Because the race of a person is different than the race of their spirit.
Oh.
Does Rachel
You
Dolezal
have a
know
race-
about this?
Yeah.
You have a race of your body and a race of your spirit and a race of
Okay.
your heart and a race of your soul. You have a lot of different races. And so
Okay.
you may be black of body but white of spirit. Surely
Carlton.
you know,
Yeah.
you could be a Carlton. You could be a Carlton. That once he starts to get into the how Jewish somebody's soul can be, that's when things start to get real spicy in part 2 of that book, where the more specifics about what kind of souls do what comes in a lot more in part 2 of the book. And that's like the first part is like him like laying out this whole thing of just being like, this is what's better than this. This is things that are above, things that are below. These are my definitions of terms. Now, all of his definitions, like it's not from any sort of like, it's all from scripture. Like how he defines everything. His entire philosophical, literary framework, everything is from religious texts. So he's standing on very shaky foundation.
I was going to say, yeah.
If like, if the same God who so cared for us all that he gave his only begotten son also flooded the whole world like not that long ago, does the same guy, and we're just supposed to say that that's fine, like that makes sense to us as like the reader, but then like
I always thought of that as like God chilled out in old age. That was my like, he was a pissy young man and then he had a son and kind of chilled out, like.
Well, Evola's answer to that is kind of that both natures of God are representations of the people he had to deal with.
No.
And
Oh my.
Yeah, you start to see how the trickery that Evola pulls, and this is why I wanted to cover him. I didn't say this. The reason I am doing this is because like 6 years ago now, I was substitute teaching, and I saw this book on a student's desk.
Oh my. Oh boy.
And I saw the cover, and I saw that it wasn't like a fantasy novel.
Yeah, because Revolt Against the Modern World does feel like a title for something where you're like, oh yeah, they went back in time, and I thought, yeah.
No. If you Google the cover, it's like the cover that shows up for it. This like green with like a pyramid. It's like a green spine with like yellow and a pyramid in the middle. It's like, and I see like a student reading this book, and I was like, that doesn't look good. That's got Hitler particles on it.
Oh no.
And and I Googled it, and I was correct. So I was highly concerned that this could end up being in some way a helpful text to a young person. And that concerned me gravely, especially about that student at the time.
Oh, boy.
So hope he's doing okay wherever he is.
Same. Yeah, my lord. Here's
I'm sure he's doing okay down there at the border in Texas getting baptized.
Yeah. In chapter 33, Decline of the Medieval World and the Birth of Nations, I was like, oh, D.W. Griffin must have read this one too. Oh, boy.
This is, so I like what I want to do with my YouTube video is sort of just actually take some of these ideas that he presents kind of seriously and kind of think about like, because it is a trick, right? Because he's like kind of saying like, well, obviously day is better than night. You can see more at day, right? And then it's like, well, obviously you aren't your whole race. You also have like a race of your spirit. It's not just your body that defines who you are. And it's like, yeah. And therefore you have a place in this hierarchy. And you need to crush those beneath you is like the place he kind of lets you get to on his own.
Huh. Okay.
It's really interesting because I always said Evola, but all the racists online say Evola, so I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of them say his name.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who is saying it right. I would assume it's Evola because he's Italian.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, he was antagonistic until he died, and he's considered like a preeminent fascist philosopher and ideologue. Like if you Google fascism, his name comes up pretty early in the Wikipedia article.
Boy.
He's like one of the philosophers of fascism. He like defines what it is, but he was really, really critical of Nazi Germany for not being into the magic stuff enough.
Oh boy.
They weren't into the Spear of Destiny, searching the North Pole for Santa Claus type of shit.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me the movie Constantine, the Constantine movie was not based on, or Hellboy? That was not
like he was. Well, he's like they should have done more of that. They would have made a Hellboy if they had done it.
Yeah, if
they fucked up by not making a Hellboy.
That Hellboy would have been a documentary if they.
That was basically his whole thing. He says in like chapter 1, magic is real. Like,
hell yeah,
we need to stop saying that magic is ridiculous. Magic is real, and the true magic is what connects our blood to this soil.
Woo!
And it's like, oh
boy,
oh boy. He's a very comfortable sort of bath that you can sort of let your wrists flow into if you let him.
Okay.
And so I want to stop people from doing that and sort of like explain some of the stuff that he's saying and go through a couple of these things and just be like, hey, like, you know, you don't have to like me as a guy or whatever, and you don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. But this is what Julius Evola is saying here.
Yeah.
So I think I want to like keep that student in mind for like the audience of the video.
Oh,
just
for
kind of
sure.
be like, hey, how could I have like talked to him in that moment? You know, when I found the book, if I had known like what to say or something. I think that's kind of how I want to frame it. I am going to be I have bought a costume for it. I'm very
fantastic.
excited to. I'm very excited to play with green screens and stuff. Yeah, I think that like at the core, like what I want to like talk about in the video is just significant danger somebody Julius Evola has to somebody who's not familiar with how fascists work, and I think if you're a high school teacher and you see a kid reading like Jungian like psychiatry, you do want to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, just real quick, just real quick, what do you think about all that, bud? What do you think about all that, bud?
So,
and I did that a couple times with like other with that kid. I didn't know what to say to him because like I tried to flip through the book and I did not understand even a single word that was being said. And I would say I defy anybody to explain Evola to themselves, not even to me. You can't do it to me because I just read his book.
Right.
But yeah, it's a sleight of hand, and it's the same sleight of hand that they all do, and it's very obvious. And he's drawing so much from René Guillon, who is like a philosopher I have not read anything about, but apparently is like where a lot of these ideas come from. But like, I'm not going to, because I read this book and I was kind of like,
you
well,
put yourself through this already.
Let's sort of, well, I'm like, let's pretend that the fascists were smart for a second. Like, what would they say? Well, what I say to the fascists is, hey, why don't you do some fucking reading? Why don't you read Marx instead of saying that Marx killed 10 billion vuvuzela? Why don't you read the Communist Manifesto?
Wasn't there that debate that Zizek did with Jordan Peterson? And Zizek had
But that's exactly right.
Jordan Peterson had to like stop and Google stuff.
The feelings I had watching that debate, because I watched that live when it happened.
Oh shit! Man.
The feelings I had watching that debate are what I'm hoping to evoke for somebody who may have stumbled upon some Evola ideas without really knowing where they were coming from. Because this guy is like, hey, well, the Old Testament says this, and the Bhagavad Gita says that, and you know, the Buddha used to say, and Confucianism teaches us, and this came from the Vikings, and all of a sudden you have like a swastika tattooed on your head.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, yeah, it leads to the same place. And he focuses so much on Eastern mysticism a lot, and actually mysticism in general. He hates Judaism except for Kabbalah, which he has a special affection for.
Intriguing.
Which is great to read these like texts like from before Ancient Aliens and shit.
Yeah.
Like this guy was like having to explain like Kabbalah. Okay, look, the Jews have their own thing with wizards. Like, every time he mentions Kabbalah, it's very interesting what he chooses to explain about it and what he chooses to not. It's equally interesting to hear how he describes Zen Buddhism, which is not really an idea that people had in like the early 60s when this book came out. So he is describing like yin and yang and Zen like states of like nirvana and stuff, and like explaining all these different like principles, but all in service of like, well, you have a chakra that's good, and the one on top is the best one.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like everything. So everything's a hierarchy. Everything's a pyramid. Everything falls within that. And
God, he would have loved
That's
multi-level
why-
marketing schemes.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
MLMs would have been his jam. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's very, very like I would be concerned. I was concerned when I found this book. When I first had an idea to make a video about this, I was concerned. After having read it, I'm like, oh, there's no danger of anybody coming across Evola and thinking, dang, this motherfucker's spitting. Like, you already have to be pretty racist to pick up what he's putting down.
Yeah, because I'm looking at
But-
the Goodreads page, because that's what I always like to do with books that are really
yeah,
weird. The Goodreads page is always a fun barometer, because you can go the 5 stars and the 1 stars, and that's usually the nice spread. The 1 star, my favorite 1-star review from the Goodreads page, Julius Evola is just Joseph Campbell for racists.
He is,
So,
yeah, correct.
The moon is female, the sun is male, and white people came from Atlantis. That's basically it. Somehow this monocled Somehow this monocled little creep managed to stretch it out over like 400 pages.
It's unbearable. It's a 17-hour audiobook that I listened
No.
to.
Oh my God. I don't give TV
And the
shows
guy
that
can't
much time.
read.
Yeah.
The guy can't read for shit too. And this weird thing happens in the audiobook. I'm gonna have to record it now, but every time he says the word plebeian, the audio drops out every single time he says it in the book, and he says the word plebeian a lot. And for some reason, the audio, it gets like plebeian, like every time he says it. I don't know. I got it off of dubious sources.
I was gonna say,
but still,
yeah.
where one finds fascist audiobooks is where I found it.
Oh, the 4chan T thread. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
From traditional audio at eagle.biz.
I was gonna say ftp.stormfront.com.
Yeah.
The publisher really is like lion-hearted publisher.
Oh wow.
Oh, Jesus. Oh boy.
A controversial scholar in philosophy, and social thinker. Yeah, sure.
Heard that before.
Yeah, no, he's a really nasty piece of work, and I think like if you do try to look up, there's just not a lot of content about him right now that isn't just fascists congratulating themselves for like understanding it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is what we're up against, and so like intellectually, I'm like excited to get this thing out, but it also is kind of scary how much power they tend to wield, money and all that.
Yeah,
So
it's
I gotta say something to all the leftists out there.
Yeah.
A fascist misunderstood a book today. Did you?
Hey-o. That's fair. That's fair. So here's another 5-star from Goodreads. Brett Stevens, the user. Their avatar is
Brett
Uncle
Stevens.
Ted. Yeah.
God.
Evola makes interesting philosophy out of that chapter in your high school history book where, with the Enlightenment, Western civilization moved away from the idea of an invisible but all-pervasive natural order of culture, nature, and gods and moved to the swelling...
Pervert.
Yep, into the swelling void of individualism. It's hard to argue with something so obviously correct.
Pervert.
Here it is.
Pervert.
Excellent stuff, but it makes more sense if you read Plato's The Republic and Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil first. Ah!
Okay. Hey, I read those things.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
This is a really bad paraphrase of both of those books, and at the end he tells you that he's smarter than Nietzsche. So who are you? I read all these books. I read all the books.
Right.
He said Plato was full of shit. Except for when he was cooking on the Atlantis stuff. And that Nietzsche wasn't racist enough. He said it in the book. I read it. Come on.
Exactly. So these guys either didn't read it or just knew based on reputation alone to give it a good review on Goodreads.
Yeah, I'm on the website I'm on now with the reviews. There's only 3. Brilliant work, a true esoteric genius, Ignore the low ratings. These bots and NPCs haven't bothered to read.
Oh,
him.
NPCs. Oh, NPCs.
I'm gonna rate that as unhelpful because I read the book. We got a 1-star from Robert David Hyman. Maybe that's his real name. Evola argues for race science, spiritual racism, and anti-Semitism. He's critical to understanding the esoteric resurgence that has accompanied the far right. He is also a monster. I would agree with that as well.
I'm going to go ahead and hit that with helpful.
He is, he is Marjorie Taylor Greene's predecessor, basically. I mean, just like, yeah. Oh, and the last review, I'll read it for completion's sake. One of the few men who cared enough to examine reality critically. What do you think a philosopher is, Samuel Murray? You fucking hack.
Here's from Goodreads, Buck Wild. 1-star, incomprehensible dog whistle Catholic gibberish, wholehearted defense of eugenics while fervently trying to discard the genetic component because he doesn't consider it relevant. Don't ask me, dude.
That's yes. Right. Right, because there is a race of your body and there's a race of your spirit.
Yeah.
So it's like eugenics stuff, but it's not actually eugenics.
Right.
It's like a way to like breed Judaism out of humanity is what he's really trying to say. But he's not really saying it. Oh my God, my fucking recommendations on this website.
I was going to say, yeah, you're...
Bronze. I think the Bronze Age Pervert was one of the recommended authors. Oh, I saw Jason scrolling.
The actual website I use is Everand, which is awesome. They're like Netflix for like audiobooks. They rock. I use them all. I used to listen to a lot more audiobooks, and I hadn't in a while. And this is like my first foray back into it. But now I'm like logged in, and it's like, oh, you should read Oswald Spengler.
Oh boy,
here's
oh boy,
Masculinity Amidst Madness by Ryan Landry. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Masculinity Amidst Madness by Ryan Landry.
So Goodreads also has a list that this book is on. Slash poll recommended reading. So the 4chan politics board.
Well, Animal Farm's on there. Good. Atlas Shrugged.
Decline of the West, Brave New World, Ride the Tiger.
Okay, so my idea for my second video is to do the not all of Atlas Shrugged, just the speech part.
Yeah, you don't need to read all of that. Yeah,
I had a really nasty libertarian phase in college. If the papers I submitted circa 2011 ever get made public, I apologize in advance for the things I said in those academic papers.
On this list is also, by the way, Plato the Complete Works, the Analects by Confucius.
The Complete Works, sure.
And
read all of Plato before going on poll.
Crippled America, How to Make America Great Again by Donald J. Trump. So, definitely.
So you want to read all of Plato and all of Trump before you come to Paul.
Folks,
and actually,
it's the cave.
you would
Is
be
it
ready.
real?
You would actually be pretty well ready for all manner of horror.
People are telling me the cave, it's not real. I'm telling you right now, the cave is so real. You won't believe it, folks.
Amazing things going on the wall, folks.
They say they're shadows, but I think they're real. Those people outside the cave, they don't know what they're talking about. It's just the shadows. Just you and me. It's a lot of shit, and it's a lot tied up, and you're right, Jordan Peterson and all these guys that are just like grifting and repackaging the same ideas. And
the thing is that like at any the fascism works so well as a product because you can enter at any level. You have to it requires so little startup capital to get into it.
It's a seductive idea to begin with.
Yeah, it's just like you don't have to really be halfway there on any of their ideas for them to sort of like trick you, you know, where they're kind of like, well, you know, men are men and women are women. And it's like, yep. And men can't become women. And it's like, well, what do you mean? And they're like, and therefore anybody who tries to become a man must be your enemy. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I got you now. Like,
yeah,
I think that like it's what they do over and over again. And it's like, you can get in at the Jordan Peterson level where you can like read this shit and just trust that Jordan Peterson is telling you whatever you want to hear. You can read Evola and you can be like, oh, maybe this guy really read all this stuff that he's citing. And then all the stuff he's citing is like ancient, like Viking, like wood panels and stuff. That's like his citations, bro. So it's like, They're just they're just hoping you don't look into it, and whatever level of dedication you have for fascism, they'll let you sort of like peek into it until you are like looking for the true cross of Jesus as the Third Reich, and it's like, bro, you guys are ass over tea kettle on this one.
Yeah, you've kind of
you guys
gone
really,
over the edge there.
you
Yeah,
really, really drank the Kool-Aid on this one. At any level, the far right, they're the same thing.
Right.
This is Ben Shapiro. He uses bigger words and he's less popular than Ben Shapiro, but, it's the same shit. He's doing the same shit.
Now, Whack, let me go ahead and stop you there. I think that that my wife's dry pussy is the reason that Western civilization is going down the tubes, because my doctor wife said that I've got too big of a penis for her, and she it's just like you can go on for hours on that. Sorry.
So Whack, what does Evola think of the futurists?
Oh,
I don't know what the futurists are. What do you?
Those are like the other Italian fascists. So you had like,
oh, you know what? He did say something about them. I don't know. I have to watch more of these videos. This is the thing. I barely understood the book, and so I have to watch all these other racists talk about it, and they're only talking about what they care about. But it's like, even what they're highlighting isn't like the whole book. Like the stuff about the Jews and stuff is like not actually a whole lot of this book. It's like not really a big part of it at all. And so, but that's what they like to talk about. And so like he does talk a lot about the other Italian he's got a lot of smoke for a lot of people in this book. This is a diss track of this book. By the way, like a diss track to, like I said, Nietzsche and Plato, but also like Dante. Dante gets the smoke big, heavy in this book. Dante gets cited and shat on throughout this book in equal measure. You would think that Dante did something to this guy, the way he writes about him.
Dante kicked my dog.
Yeah, he said some shit about them. I don't know. I think what he was really good at was the way that fascists never get along with each other, the way that they always hate each other.
Yeah.
He was kind of good at being like, oh, they're never going to get along, so I don't want to be liked by any of them because they're all going to hate each other anyway. And so he would criticize everybody and then say it was from the right. So he could criticize the Third Reich from the right, and he could criticize fascist Italy from the right. And it's like, yeah, it was just a way to like make himself seem smarter. It's petty bullshit politics. And it's the exact same shit. It's like why every single member of the Trump White House has a tell-all book is the same reason that Evola is talking about why the sun is better than the moon. It's like they're all doing the same little dance, and they think we're not seeing them do it, even though they're like, yeah, like Steve Bannon's quoting Evola like multiple times. Like, Steve Bannon started like an Evola cult in Italy.
That's right.
Like
he had
what
the
he's doing
monks.
now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
I didn't know it was specifically
like,
Evola. Okay, that's fucking.
It's not specifically Evola, but he like, yeah. I mean, he's quoted Evola in like public before, so
Might as well
yeah,
be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like with the crypto scams. Exactly what appears to be happening is the thing that keeps happening with these guys.
Yeah, there's no grand design. It's just they're fumbling over something and like, oh yeah, this worked. Okay, let's do this again. The state of the world is dire, and it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not giving me hope. It's not
bunch of people on the internet with shitty Roman statue avatars are reading like shitty, like the shittiest version of Alan Watts and being like, this guy's right.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Joe Rogan.
Thank you. Yes.
It's Joe Rogan is the shitty version of Alan Watts that they're listening to.
Oh God.
And they are. I'm sorry to say.
No, you're not wrong.
Jamie, pull up the difference between the man and the Atman. You see here on the Wheel of Samsara where the original Four Loko was taken away.
Right. This is now. It feels like reading that fucking book.
Yeah, we're
the Petras are guys that want pussy but don't get any, and they're always going to want to get pussy.
Oh boy.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
I think it's time to lighten the mood a little bit, guys. What do you guys think?
it's been a while. Is this the show where you guys are gonna share some gore porn with me or something?
This isn't gore porn. I specifically avoided anything beyond. I made this particular part of the show a little bit more
accessible.
Thank you. Yes, I've been trying to whittle down some of the more extreme stuff because yes.
Can we talk about the video that you guys showed me last time? Do you
remember? I don't even remember what it was. What did we show you last time?
The guy punching the prolapse?
It wasn't he wasn't punching it. He was making out with it. It was like in a pickup truck.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a lot of issues with the prolapse stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not like
it's not my
from
favorite.
like a stomach issue. But I'm just kind of like, it's not sexy. Is anybody like turned on by this? It's not like cute. Like, I don't know. Having like your entire guts hanging out of your body is like, seems like a medical emergency, not like something I want to kiss. You know,
I'm a big time listener of the Howard Stern show still to this day, and there's a guy.
Jesus Christ, really?
I know. You'd think, but at the same time, in the intervening years, he's actually become quite a storied like interviewer, and he gets people talking and has some great musical guests or whatever. But he also has the weirdest freaks on, and so it's that great balancing act between like he's Jim Rose, but he's also Charlie Rose, and so. He has this guy call in every once in a while who goes to like fisting festivals. And so I learned that getting a prolapse in certain fisting communities is called having a rose. And so some guys, that's a desired thing for them. They want to have their rose come out.
I just feel like anytime somebody's like, I'm going to show you something really fucked up, I just want to be like, is it a prolapse thing? Because I've seen a lot of them already.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's like, that makes sense to me that it would be a fetish and that there would be festivals for people doing this. And I mean, obviously I've seen the videos, people are doing this in gatherings. But No,
I'm with you. Anything to do with like.
Something's not connecting for me there.
It's blood. You know, like those things really bother me as far as like anything like fetish related or like vomit really weirds me out. Like I have my limits.
I think the man that inserted a Phillips screwdriver into his piss hole handle first was I didn't need to know that existed.
That was a hard watch for sure.
But the guy that wrapped his dick in tinfoil and then put it in a light socket.
That's cool. That's just dudes being guys.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think he did have like a noise.
Is that the guy who stuck his hand in the blender? Both the same kind of screaming. Oh!
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So this one is just called YourMom.org. Whack. This one is actually more funny than it is gross.
Okay, so your mom way back thing. That's a real classic. That's a real good sort of. That was a good feeling to see it.
YourMom.org is a short website. It's an old Flash one, so we got to wait for Ruffle to load. It's an old lady giving a gum job there. If you click on the looping GIF, it's actually a Flash file where it has the Fountains of Wayne song "Stacy's Mom" on repeat.
Oh, sorry. Did you say something? I clicked on the image.
And you're blasted with Stacy's mom going.
Oh,
that's correct.
And here at the bottom it says "Skip the relationship. Find a fuck buddy tonight." Gosh,
yeah.
Everyone on the internet's so helpful.
Oh,
there's really literally nothing else but that. It really does feel like a "You're the Man Now" dog, but for a mature woman blowing a guy
who might be wearing a rubber shirt. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on.
It was really odd. Yeah, it was like shiny and I don't know what was going on.
I don't know if he was like in the middle, like he was in like a giant like bouncy ball with his dick hanging out.
The boy in the bubble.
The boy.
It was that.
This is how Bubble Boy got topped.
That's right. Boy, it really dates it by digging back into that Fountains of Wayne record. As much as I love Adam Schlesinger, that song was a piece of shit, and I will forever skip that anytime I'm listening to that particular Fountains of Wayne album, because it's fine. It's okay. It's Stacy's mom. It's not great. There's a million better songs in his catalog and also on that same record. YourMom.org, you could send that to somebody and just really get them good, you know?
I always felt like in high school when people would send me stuff like that, or like, whatever, try and shock me, like, oh, this is what your mom does. I'm like, I hope my mom sucked dick good. I would hate to think that I came from someone who was not good at giving neck. I want to be proud of my mom in every way I can find.
What a day! What a day we're having over here at the chalet.
The chalet.
Yeah, boy.
No, actually, today we're recording from the Goon Cave at the power station. At
That's
Union
right.
Station.
I'm so sorry. I forgot where we were for a moment. Yes.
Yeah, shout out to all the gooners out
The
there.
Dr. John's Goon Cave, sponsored by KY.
Gosh, it tastes as good as it looks.
What do you think I've been dipping these nachos in this whole time?
I thought it was reduced crystal Pepsi, but tell me more.
Yeah, it's the KY Intimate Sparks one, the one where you have to mix the two.
It tastes just like gravy.
Exactly, that's right.
Oh, that means lube that tastes like gravy. It's like the Jones Soda gross flavor.
But then someone's gonna be into it. That's
yeah.
I mean, surely there's gravy flavored lube out there.
Hold on.
Now we have to fact check this.
I mean,
yes, no.
It didn't come up. There's bacon lube. It's just from like those kind of things.
I don't want
right?
bacon.
No, there's not one.
We're gonna have some epic sex sword tonight, babe.
Yeah.
I got the bacon lube.
Yeah.
My narwhal is gonna get a bunch of updoots on your vagina.
Yeah.
The Gary Busey film Thanksgiving apparently had gravy flavored condoms they sold.
Oh,
or
God. Oh.
I don't know if that's real. I'm gonna retweet this person from 2013 who posted it with no waves.
I like it when someone retweets something that I posted like 10 years ago, and I go, I have to think like, how do they
find this? Yeah, they're searching gravy lube,
gravy flavored lube, and it's the second result on Google. I'm sorry. Your post that had no faves from January 30th, 2013 is now. Hope your account's not still active, and I apologize.
Getting that whack bump. Well, after all that, I think we're all going to need a bit of a breath mint.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
Whack, I know that you're a returning champion, as it were. You know about the breath mint. You know that after we do the shock.jpg, we tell everybody what we're into, what we're listening to, watching, playing, whatever. Aside from Revolt Against the Modern World, what has been hitting your bookshelves or your video game consoles or your at-home movie watching experiences? What you been up to?
Okay, so in listening to that book, I've been replaying Skyrim, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that was just so I could listen to the book. I don't like reality television.
Okay.
For the very specific reason that I don't like when dialogue is played over music. I don't like a low hum of music. I always mute commercial breaks and stuff. It really bothers me. So I don't tend to really enjoy the sort of annoying music they put on reality TV shows. And so I don't watch a lot of it, but I have been watching some great recaps of like old reality shows. Gunnar Klein on YouTube is one guy that I love his stuff. I've watched like so much. I think everything he's put out actually.
Yeah, I saw that post earlier. It was so what is
I keep glazing that dude up because he's awesome. He watched like Beauty and the Geek. He watched the Joe Schmo show. He's done like a bunch of these like live streams, and then he uploads the VODs onto YouTube. I'm big into those. I also just watched a recap of I think The Bachelor season 3.
Okay.
By Ashley Norton on YouTube, who is also awesome. She spent like 3 hours just breaking down this whole season of The Bachelor. That I found very gratifying and very entertaining. That's what I've been doing a lot of, is just like learning about reality television from sort of like like looking at an eclipse, like these YouTubers.
Yeah,
you look at it
standing back.
So yeah, I've been getting caught up on a lot of that stuff because I don't know like any Bachelor references or any like jokes people make about like what's the 90 Day Fiance or any of that. Like I've never really watched any of that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that I follow on Facebook that are friends of mine from when I was in a bunch of bands are still like going gaga over 90 Day Fiance. I was going to recommend something to you. It is a fictional television show, but it is formatted like a reality series, and it's about a couple making a reality series. Brian, I talked to you about this last week.
Yes, you did.
The Curse. Nathan Fielder, Emma Stone.
Well, I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I do want to check it out.
Recommending
sure.
it highly because I just saw the finale and I was like, okay, this is absolutely bonkers. I love it. It's definitely got that vibe. If you like reality TV, or even if you're even remotely interested in something like that would go on like an HGTV, that's a high recommendation for that.
Yeah, I will definitely check that out.
Absolutely. Brian, how about yourself? What you been digging into this week?
Kind of a quiet week for me on the whole media consumption thing. My girlfriend's got me going through a Bentley Lil book. He is one of those guys that still writes the kind of like cheap paperback books that like your grandma would buy at the grocery store. They already have like the yellow pages and all that.
Yeah, all right.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah,
but
yeah.
But Bentley Lil, for most of his career, has been getting a lot of praise from like Stephen King and other people, and he wrote this book in the early 90s called Death Instinct, which takes place in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Where it kind of hops around different perspectives. It's got like a rotating cast of like, it's kind of like Song of Ice and Fire, where you're kind of rotating between 4 or 5 voices.
Sure.
But then every once in a while there'll be a chapter of one person, and then it goes back to that the rotating cast. And it's about this lady named Kathy, and she's kind of a bookish failure to launch young lady. All these killings are happening in her neighborhood, and they're all gruesome. You know, like a woman like getting her kneecaps and her arms twisted backwards. And, a cop gets killed by having like hundreds of needles placed precisely in his body, like severing all of his nerves and stuff like that. And the most like early 90s like this wouldn't fly now is that about like 3/8 through the book, the house across the street from her, which is this infamous house, and it hasn't really been explained why it's the infamous house in the neighborhood. I don't believe it's been explained. If it has been, I've forgotten. But a new family moves in, and it's a single mom and her mentally disabled grade school age son. And the R word is used quite abruptly, and is not a very kind depiction of people with autism or Down syndrome or anything like that. And it's almost comical in how just mean it is. And again, it feels like something you could only get away with until about the mid 90s.
Right.
But it almost feels like a Nick Mullen bit. That, like, but this book is like really very like serious and very kind of like it's pulpy.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable.
I love it.
But then every single time this character goes into, it's very much like, okay, what if a Chinese man was also gay?
Oh no.
Kind of stuff. And gay and the
yeah, but I'm
slur.
listening. Like, what if?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah. You do have my attention. I will say that.
Like
yeah.
there's like a little boy down the street that she's like the adult friend with. He gets beat up by the mentally disabled kid who just like beats the shit out of him with like a rubber ball. Like, it's that whole thing of like, we have to lock up the mentally disabled. They're the real monsters in society kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. The Reagan era nonsense. Yeah.
So that's something. I've also anytime the movie Seven appears on a streaming platform, I have to watch it. I think that's probably one of my favorite
all the films.
It is so good.
I mean, it's good, but it's really upsetting.
It is, but I think that's what makes it good. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know.
I think
it's a funny movie to pick. Even of David Fincher movies, it's a funny movie to pick. I don't know.
I think the cinematography, and the craft behind that film, I think, is what really draws me to it. I think it's a very interesting, like, gothic noir movie.
Yeah.
And seeing you have this dichotomy between Brad Pitt's character being like the brash, hotshot young detective, and you have Morgan Freeman's Somerset as being like I'm kind of over it. I've like
Yeah.
he's wise, but he's also
Jaded.
cynical.
Yeah.
And seeing the old new contrast there.
Then you got Arlie Ermy as their chief too.
The captain, actually.
He's also that same kind of like old school. I don't care what
Yeah.
Very straight out of any old cop show. Like he's a very old school guy.
With fucking eyebrows. I think
Yeah, you can't escape those things, man.
I think like what really kind of drew me to that movie was I got a PlayStation 2 when I was a teenager, and a Blockbuster really close down the street. So it was just like, just always going to Blockbuster, always checking out these movies I had heard about, read about in magazines and stuff. And Seven was one of them. And this is back when DVDs had like a shit ton of extras and featurettes.
Oh, yeah.
And the first release of Seven on DVD had like all of these like making of like how they did the books,
those
Those
were
were fascinating about the books.
I mean, I've looked at a lot of that stuff. Yeah, 1000%.
how they did all of like the photography for John Doe, and how they just like built this world, all of the effort that went into stuff that's only in the movie for seconds at best.
Yeah.
And I thought that
it is a kind of movie making that kind of died with the Lord of the Rings. Like it just doesn't. They just like don't. Why did somebody write all those journals? Like, why did somebody do that?
Well, yeah, because they said, and I think I've seen the same documentary because I think I had that same DVD.
Yeah,
they made this guy fill out hundreds of these books so that any character could pull that book off a shelf, open it, and it would have these rambling writings in it. It's like, that's a verisimilitude that's like insanely unnecessary, but for some reason it worked with that movie.
And all those composition books are hand bound.
Yes.
Just the craft of it. I think it's a great movie, but the work that went into it. I've watched 30-minute YouTubes about the cinematography, the color, the color usage, and stuff like that. I think just from top to bottom, I think it's a very interesting movie.
Yeah, you convinced me. You're right. You're right. My apologies.
But it's one of those ones where like it became a meme in and of itself about the what's in the box.
That was like an inside joke when I worked at a Blockbuster, which was someone would scream, "What's in the box?" And you hear someone else from across the store go, "Rachel!"
Right.
From Dark Knight. Dark Knight, because that was the last gasp of Blockbuster. Was like, I think the last big release that Blockbuster I think made money on was like the Dark Knight on DVD and Blu-ray.
Man,
I think it's a movie that looks every single time it gets released on a new format. I remember seeing it in a 4K release at one point and just being like, "Fuck, that looks good." Shot to always. Again, like the art of it is just really top notch to me. On the music front, I've been really enjoying the new record by a little band from Los Angeles called Cheek Face.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
They came out with their latest record a couple weeks ago called Just Sorted. Cheek Face is like, what if a guy I joked about it. What if the guy from Cake got meningitis from not washing his sheets? This is what the band would sound like. It's very like talk singing. It's like there's like the music's like there's like very little reverb or like room. It's very compressed. It's very like 1980s like B-52s. It's like a little Weird Al.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I
but
can
it's
see
also
that.
kind of
because the songs are funny sometimes.
The songs are funny. They're like, like the chorus of one song is like, we found your social security number on the dark web, and like and we use it to get into your email address, and it's basically like your email address says you're lame, kind of.
Yes.
Or your email, everything in your email account says you're lame, or it's fun. It's interesting. It's different, and I guess they describe themselves as being like America's local band because they do come off as the sort of band that like would never get out of like Omaha.
Yeah, that is the vibe.
I think about so many bands from St. Louis. I think about Jumbling Towers, Dracula, Dad Jr., all these bands that had like something like really unique, but would have never had any appeal outside of the fact that they knew the right people to get at the right shows to play their weird music. I mean, there was a band in St. Louis that was not around for a very long time, called Exploding Cigars.
Oh, God.
God, did you ever hear about this?
No.
One of the worst bands that ever played the Firebird. It really felt like someone had watched Mr. Show and kind of misunderstood the humor. It was like a weird... It was like these guys dressed up like 1920s jazz musicians, but playing like kind of like freestyle prog ska about like coercing women into having sex with you. And it was like one of those things like, is this supposed to be a joke?
I would hope so. God.
But then like you look at these guys and it's like, no, they have too much red gold for this to be a joke.
Hey-o.
Yeah. But Cheek Face sounds great.
The Cheek Face is great.
Cheek Face is great. Yeah.
But that like just
it's that energy, I think.
The
is
energy
what
of
yeah.
like what the fuck. There's nothing else like it. I gave a good examples. And I gave a bad example of like sometimes this energy can go the very bad places, but when it's good, it's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been loving it. I've been playing at work, and I think annoying my coworkers.
Good. What else is music for but annoying your coworkers?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I've been playing the new Blockhead record.
Okay.
New York producer. Kind of forgotten about him for like 10 or 15 years, but then he just did like this came out with this record called Ox a couple months ago, and it's got Billy Woods, it's got Bruiser Wolf, who's kind of hot right now, a bunch of other people.
He did a couple of tracks with A$AP Rock in the early days, didn't he?
He was basically A$AP Rock's main producer for like the first 4 or 5 records.
Okay. I'd say the name was so familiar. I was like,
yeah. He had like some really bad hot takes on the internet, and I think he had to like kind of dip out for a while. But he came back with this record. There's some great posse cuts on there. Like I think only person out of that world that he's been in that's not that's missing is LP.
Okay.
But I think LP is too busy being Killer Mike's
yeah.
Those are the words I'm going to use.
Sure, why not? So as far as myself for the Breath Mint this week, I got a couple things, but the big ones are going to be finished a book just today called The Museum of Human History. You guys familiar with Rebecca Bergman is the writer. This was recommended to me because I had really enjoyed so very much Station 11. Book that then became the TV series. Well, so someone had said, well, this Rebecca Bergman book is coming out called The Museum of Human History. And so I sent an email to the local library, and they snatched up a copy for me and had it waiting. And I finished it in like 3 days. Phenomenal book. I've been on a bit of a tear reading lately. So it's a book about memory and loss and what it is to age and die. And the basic plot revolves around a young girl at the age of 8. She's the twin sister of another girl. She has a horrible accident in a pool, nearly drowns, survives, but continues to sleep but never age. And so the book cuts between different parts of her post and pre-sleep life with the people around her and people that knew her or people that knew people who knew her, kind of interacting with each other and kind of orbiting each other. It's this fascinating, it's definitely a character study kind of book. It's one of those ones where there's not much in the way of plot except for what happens to these characters and how they deal with it, which is sometimes one of the best books, much like some sections of Station 11 does, which is, I guess, why the recommendation came in. But oof, boy, her mother dies and when the girls are young, and then her sister grows up, but her twin sister does not, and the father doesn't know what to do with them, and sends one off to live with the grandfather, and then and these people that they knew are dealing with dementia, and like so it's got so many layers. It's about memory and death and life and this. It's definitely worth a read because it's just such an experience. And then I saw a film over the weekend, Sofia Coppola's Priscilla. Now, you know how much I liked Elvis last year. I thought Elvis was this weird, kaleidoscopic, super freaky kind of weird, like, whoa, what the hell? But it managed to capture a lot of that stuff. What it didn't capture was Elvis's relationship with Priscilla. Sofia Coppola's movie is pretty much, this is Priscilla's entire story up until divorcing Elvis. So from when she's like 15
who played Elvis better? That's
I liked Austin Butler's voice better, but I think as far as like the physical performance, I think I can't remember the guy's name.
wow, really?
Yeah,
Jacob Elordi.
Jacob Elordi. Thank you. Jacob Elordi has a presence. He's got a physicality that I think works better. Plus, the actor that they cast as Priscilla and Jacob Elordi are so different in height and build that it's almost. I know it's probably not true to life, but it definitely feels thematic that he's looming over her this whole
I mean,
time.
it's like I haven't seen the movie, and just like all the promo, everything you see from it is like he is at an up angle and she is like much smaller than him.
And that's
like I
by
think the poster is
design.
just his
Yeah.
like giant hand in the foreground, and she's sitting on a chair. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah, that's by design. I'm sure that's Sophia saying, yeah, this is very important, signposting it. Whereas Elvis was this very maximalist movie about like, yeah, here's all these things happening all at once, and Baz Luhrmann, of course, doing his thing, shoving as much as he can at you. This movie is restrained and quiet, and they didn't get the rights to a lot of Elvis songs, and so instead, what you hear are Elvis's contemporaries in these scenes, and so it's almost
that's cool.
yeah, they got the rights to one. I think they got the rights to one Elvis song, and they use it one time in the film. But for the most part of the movie, it's other people that were at the time or in that same scene, and so you really do have to see them together. Granted, that's like a 6-hour mini series if you're watching them both together, because Baz Luhrmann's Elvis is 3 fucking hours long. But Sofia Coppola, undefeated as far as like doing movies about underestimated women who are maybe misunderstood in the terms of their cultural impact and their history. Gotta love it. I really liked pretty much everyone in it, but there's an old character actor, and his name escapes me now, but he plays Vernon Presley, Elvis's father. And he's been in like a million movies, and he's always plays this curmudgeonly Southern guy. And every time I see him, like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the perfect casting. Why did you cast anyone else? There's these scenes where she's at home in Graceland, and they did a great job.
Oh, Tim Post is the
Tim
name of the
Post.
actor.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
He's got a great look.
He
He's
has
got a
that
great
face.
this guy.
And so anytime that you see Priscilla alone in Graceland, the frame is empty. It's her in this beautiful, gorgeous home, but it's so sterile, and she's alone, and she's, it's powerful in that way because it's very quiet. Really liked it. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Can't recommend it enough. I don't know if Max has it yet, but it's going to be soon as far as I'm aware. Again, Sofia Coppola. If you liked Marie Antoinette, you're going to enjoy this because it's very much of a same piece where you're getting this different side of something that you may think you know, but and again, Marie Antoinette, obviously not historically accurate, but it's more of a vibes-based movie. Whereas Priscilla is based on a book that Priscilla Presley wrote called Elvis and Me that she published in the 80s. So it is more factually accurate than say the Marie Antoinette movie, but they do feel of a piece because they're about that same kind of relationship with a powerful man kind of thing.
Have any of y'all been to Graceland?
I have twice.
I've been once. It was,
No.
It's a trip, man. There's carpet on the walls.
There's carpet everywhere. There's way more carpet than there needs to be in Graceland. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. No, it is.
My brother lives in Nashville, and I want to do like a whole Tennessee sort of thing,
Oh, you'll have a hoot. No,
Tennessee, go Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg, yeah.
I've been really wanting to travel, but it may also be due to the fact that I'm in Philly and it's February and it's fucking cold.
Sure, there is definitely that.
And my brother's down in Nashville. I'm like, how are things? He's like, good. All the snow's gone.
Yeah, because if he's anything like us here in the Midwest, he got snow for like a day and then it's gone that same afternoon.
Well, no, Nashville got hit with that really crazy.
Oh,
that's right.
Right.
They were like hit like no power for 3 days, and like you couldn't drive on any of the roads for like a full week or anything. Yeah, it was crazy. But now it's fine. It's like 60 degrees there today.
Well, now would be the time. I mean, you know, go Graceland, Dolly World, all that stuff. Yeah,
I might have to.
Yeah.
I might have to.
I'm thinking about going back myself. I mean, every time I feel like it, man, I want to go to Memphis.
Memphis is great. I
Yeah.
love Memphis quite a bit.
Good
But yeah,
time.
Graceland's wild. The fucking motherfucker had a racquetball court.
Oh yeah, multiple airplanes, a dozen cars with the TCB logo on it. Was taking care of business. His fucking grave is in the fucking courtyard.
With the eternal flame.
Yes.
God, how tight would it
That's
be?
sick.
How tight would it be to light your fucking cigarette with that?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't even like smoke cigarettes anymore, but I would do that just once to be like, yeah, I lit my fucking smoke on Elvis is great.
and
What
I
the
blew
fuck?
it in the face of one of his
Yeah,
horses.
that's definitely worth it. And you know, as much fun as Prince's grave is, you can't light your cigarette
You
on the
can't.
two doves that are guarding
can't.
his remains.
I don't know if you get like a flint stone.
Just scrape it against the one black dove. Yeah. Now I went to Paisley Park over this past summer, and what I tell people is what you got to do at Paisley Park is you got to actually go outside the grounds, and then there's a little walkway by the highway, and you go under the highway, and there's a tunnel, and in this tunnel is all these Prince fans that have graffitied and put up stickers and posters and all the flowers and all that. To me is super cool, and obviously you don't have to.
I had no idea about that. That is cool.
Yeah, and my favorite one though is they had put up a QR code, and I'm like, oh, cool. This is gonna be like some Prince fan forum or something.
Free Bitcoin.
Right. Well, that too. Yeah. Like, but what I go to it, and it's a Facebook group of Prince death truthers who are saying that like he was killed by his assistant to get the money or something. Yeah. It's like Connecting the Purple Dots, I think is the name of it.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, all these beloved people keep on dying from the same drugs prescribed by the same handful of doctors. It must be.
Yeah, there's got to be something else.
Yeah, it must be a fucking Agatha Christie novel that we are gonna uncover.
Well, this is part of the show, Whack, where we tell everyone where to find us online. Since you are our esteemed guest, why don't you go ahead and tell us where to find you?
Whack Nicholson on Twitter is going to be the best place to find me currently. I do have a Patreon that I'm sort of going to start posting things behind a paywall, just like content updates, like talking about this video that I want to do. I kind of want some feedback from some people. My Patreon is like $1 entry level, and I'm just going to unlock all content. It's just really a way to like funnel people there. Right now, I don't really have any like. I want to be able to talk to people who are interested in the kind of stuff that I would make. So if you are interested in any of the things I talked about with the Ebola stuff, that like is going to take up a lot of my time in the next few days. So I would love to hear from anybody who's interested in like making recommendations or pointing me in certain directions or wanting like having certain questions or anything like that. I am trying to direct a lot of my sort of content creation stuff right now into like finding out what people want to hear while I'm doing very annoying academic readings. So check out my my Twitter now, but yeah, my Patreon and my YouTube channel. I do have a bunch of YouTube videos up there already that are pretty fun. I talk about what it was like being a teacher. I talk about what it was like working at a fireworks store.
Oh, wow.
So if you guys are interested in any of that, I do have that information out there, and we'll be putting out the YouTube video on Ebola hopefully very soon.
Excellent. Brian, how about yourself? Where can they find you on the old internet?
You can find me a couple places. That sounds really awesome, Whack. I'm gonna have to give you some internet ducats. I want to read the fireworks story.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at iShotGuydBoard, ISHOTGYDBORD. You can find me on the hellscape that is Threads and Instagram at a music photographer. I've had iShotGuydBoard for like over 14 years now, and I kind of feel like it's run its course. I'm not sure if I'm
like
really
6 people get that joke, and one of them is me. So
yeah, I mean, like it's one of those things where like I've had like people who I look up to like creatively be like, that's such a great username, but then I would try to like explain it to like a person that might actually like hire me to do work, and they're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting this job.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, this is not my
so
scene. Yeah.
I might actually like wise up and try to actually put myself out there in an accessible way.
All right.
If you want to check out my portfolio, it's assholemusicphotographer.com. If you want to check out some photos with words, it's amusicphotographer.com. If you want to check out the last and the only good media website in St. Louis, it's the artsstl.com. If you have not checked out Colin's fucking sick ass
the tool pictures, yeah.
God damn. I'm still impressed. I'm amazed that he got a photo pass and actually got to get photos of Maynard. Whack, in case you don't know, in the world of music photography, Maynard is like the white whale. No one ever gets a good photo of him.
Yeah.
So go see something you'll probably never see again, which is a photo of Maynard James Keenan that's not 20 years old.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, that's that. Jason, where can they send you death threats?
Oh, boy. Shoot me any and all death threats you want is video crime on most major social medias. Anytime there's a video crime, chances are it's going to be me, with the exception of Instagram and TikTok. There I am, Laser Goose CEO, laser with an S, because that's how it's spelled. I don't want to hear it. You can also catch us here on the show, 48minutesdogsbarking.com. You can send us an email, Jason at 48minutesofdogsbarking.com, Brian with a Y at 48minutesdogsbarking.com. Give us a call, 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO. You can also shoot us a couple of bucks there on our Patreon, patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. Well, Whack, thank you once again for having us back on what I like to call the redemption episode. And I really hope.
Oh, yeah, let's call it the redemption episode.
Perfect. I'm good with it. I was going to call it Return of the Whack, because like Return of the Mac. But,
well, of course.
Right, but anyway.
It could be Return of the Whack :
Oh, okay.
Episode.
I love it. And then featuring Whack Nicholson. Perfect.
Electric Boogaloo.
And fewer colons, oddly. You can't.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to stop riffing. We got to end the thing.
I know. Well, that about does it for the program. As we always say at this time, namaste, good luck, eat the knife, say goodnight, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Say goodnight, Whack.
Good night.
Thank you.